Welcome to Classical 95.9 WCRI's Conducting Conversations with your host, Mike Mano. 1 hour of music and conversation with notable people in the arts, bringing you the stories of how music has impacted their lives. The show will give a behind-the-scenes look at the guest's background, interests, or special project.
Conducting Conversations is brought to you by Roberts Musical Instruments. From sheet music and brand name instruments to rentals, repairs, lessons, and more. Roberts Musical Instruments is your key to musical success. Call 823-5459. That's 823-5459.
And now here's your host, Mike Mano.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conducting Conversations. Tonight we have a very special program because I have two good friends that are in the studio tonight. A man that you have heard on WCRI for many years, and his wife. Both do commercials frequently on WCRI. The amazingly talented, the somewhat good-looking Del-Bourree Bach is here, and very good-looking and very talented. His wife, Kristen, is here. And let's get started by most people will recognize your voices when they hear them, because you've been doing commercials on WCRI now for, 15 years maybe, something like that?
Yeah. Oh, it has to be a long time, yeah.
A long time. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's start with a little bit of background, and let's get to the point where, Del, you started out as a child.
Oh, I think most of us did, as far as I know.
Where was that?
Well, I grew up in Plainfield, New Jersey. I try not to admit that, but now I had a very nice childhood. My grandfather was the one that introduced me to the arts, basically, and my mother. We had a sort of artistic family. And as far as I did a dual career thing. So I jumped in. I was a singer and an artist, and my grandfather got me going on both of those. My mother was a professional pianist for a number of years, even played for President Truman at one point.
I played for President before President Reagan was elected.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's great.
All right.
Yeah, I never played for any presidents.
You didn't hear what I said. So you only hear what you think you want to hear. I said before he was elected.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah.
I did hear that, yeah. Well, I sang for President Trump before he was elected, too.
There you go.
So there we are. Anyway, where were we?
You were very young. When you talked about your grandfather, you were what, 3, 4, 5, 6? What? Give me an age bracket.
I was about 9 when he started teaching me how to draw. I would take Sunday afternoon drawing lessons with him.
So did he start with a circle on top of a circle to show you how to draw a body?
No, he just said, draw that. I wish now. He was good. He was a talented amateur artist, so. And he got me going with the basic, shadows and everything you were talking about.
Right.
And then when I was about 14, 15, I'm not sure. My mother was always playing, as I said, she was a professional pianist. And so it was Christmas Eve, and she was practicing O Holy Night. And so I had heard my grandfather sing, because he sang it on, Christmas Eve. That was a tradition. And he had a beautiful baritone voice. And so I started imitating him. And she turns around and says, Del, please sing in your real voice. And I said, I think that is my real voice. Later on, my grandfather came that night and said, sing that. That is his real voice.
Wow.
And
cool.
That's how it started.
And that's when your voice changed.
All right, let's move to first off, I want to, Kristen, can you please give everyone Del's website? So if while we're talking, they want to check it out and look at some of the artwork.
Okay. His website is delbourreebach.com, and that's spelled DEL-BOURREE.com.
Was the Bach in there?
Yeah. You said it, Del-Bourree Bach.
No, I don't
Oh, you
think
didn't?
I did.
See, that shows how much I listened to her.
Oh, my goodness. Let me do this again. DEL-BOURREEBACH.com.
Okay, hold on. Check out DEL-BOURREEBACH.com.
Wow, I guess we got plenty of plugs in there.
Well, there you go. That's all you need.
All right, let's move to you, Kristen. Where did you grow up, and what part of the country?
Well, I was okay. That's a little complicated. I was actually born in Maryland, Baltimore. We lived. My father was also a professional painter, an artist. We had a lot of time where we went to many, many different places. I spent summers on Cape Cod, in Maine, in Nova Scotia, out west with my father when he was painting, because he taught also. So we had a long time off in the summertime. And we went to many different places. Literally, the day I got out of school, they'd have the car packed and we'd be off somewhere, and I got back the night before school started the next day. So for early years, in the wintertime and in school time, I was in Baltimore. Other years, eventually ended up on the Cape. But Nova Scotia, a lot of time, and traveled all around.
We happen to have a lot of listeners, believe it or not, in Nova Scotia. We're talking about Kentville, Halifax.
Okay,
Parsboro.
that's a really good. You mentioned Guysborough. How about that? We had a property in Guysborough County, actually, and a little town called Half Island Cove, which is still, to my mind, beautiful place.
Right. There's a lot of beautiful spots up there. Okay.
Yeah. When I was younger, we stayed at somebody else's house all summer, who was actually a client of my father's, a collector of my father's, who said, "Why don't you go and stay in our house? It's in Glen Margaret in Halifax County on St. Margaret's Bay." So that's where, when I was younger, we were. But then we bought this property and built a little cabin on it up in Half Island Cove in Guysborough County.
Well, there you go. Now, I haven't told this story on the air before, but since I know you both so well, I'm going to tell you that one time I was singing it in Halifax, and I believe that's where the Agricultural College is. Do you know?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we did a show on Friday night, and we did a show on Saturday night and a Sunday afternoon matinee. And on Saturday during the day, they decided they would take us to the Agricultural College, and they took us out in the fields where the bulls were and the cows were.
Oh, great.
Okay.
And they made us honorary members of Canada's only artificial insemination unit of cows.
Whoa.
My goodness, that is impressive.
Yeah, so we went through the whole process. So I know I watched
The whole process?
we watched the whole thing, which I won't describe on the air, but that's a fun.
Me.
All right, let's get a little bit of music in here to set the mood. And you used to have a studio in Mystic area, right?
Well, it was an art gallery. My studio is in Mystic, where we live.
Right.
But we had a gallery called Courtyard Gallery many years ago, closed in 2017.
And that's when I first met you.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Yes,
exactly.
we came in, and the commercials we were doing then were all for the Courtyard Gallery, Mystic's Hidden Treasure.
Yeah.
But
Very good.
we had a leaky roof, and we decided it was
Time
better.
to move on.
Time
Time to move on. But
Yeah.
we would have many receptions, and we always hired Mark Tabor, an amazing jazz pianist, to play for us. And he had a huge professional career.
So this is
backing up
like
many
for open
different
house
people.
or something like that?
Yeah, it was for the receptions that were generally 2 or 3 hours, and then sometimes we'd have them on Sundays, which was, we had a Sunday salon, we would call
Every
it sometimes.
Sunday.
Yes, every Sunday, and we would bring him for that, and then also later on, we started outsourcing them, so I had receptions in other places, Providence Art Club and other places, and hired him to play at my receptions there.
Okay.
He's also played at our house when we've had parties,
Wow.
just for that, which was great.
I've never been invited to those parties.
Well, we'll have to work on that.
All right. The reason you're bringing that up is because music tonight will be Mark Tabor's music. And we'll get to a piece right now, then take a short break, and we'll be back with more of Del and Kristen. We are back on Conducting Conversations. I'm Mike Mano, very pleased to be sitting with Del-Bourree Bach and Kristen as we talk about things in their past. Now, we found out where you both grew up. Now we want to know, how did the big event happen? Where did you meet and when?
Well, we met in 1983.
Wow, you're old.
Oh,
we're very
every time I
old.
look in the mirror, I know it. Thanks, Mike.
But I'm older than both of you.
That's
so there you
true.
go.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, it
Not
was
much.
It was 1983 at Symphony Space, and the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players were putting on a production of Princess Ida. And I had been singing with them since '79 in principal roles and everything. And I met Kristen then, but we kind of didn't meet each other. We were kind of, she was in and out, and she was in the chorus at the time. Anyway, and but we became friendly, blah, blah, blah. By the next year,
I'm really interested in the blah, blah, blah
up.
part.
Well, you know what it's
I'm
like,
editing
Mike.
in my brain here what to say,
Okay.
Mostly theater is a lot of work, which
Yeah.
anybody that's been in there knows, and a lot of rehearsals. So a lot of time that you spend together, you're actually working. So there you are. So
Right, okay.
not a lot of time.
Not an interesting blah, blah, blah.
Right, but
No,
this was
particularly.
interesting. When I finally asked her out, I said, I have this club that I'm a member of, an art club in New York City. And I said, and I'd be interested in, we could go out to dinner there. So she says, what's the name of the club? And I said, the Salmagundi Club. Oh, my father's been a member there since 1966 and everything.
That's
So,
the truth. That is
So
absolute.
you did not impress her with
No.
Oh, I've been there forever. But we love the Salmagundi Club. That
Oh, yeah.
does bring me to something which is really very important. In New York, we both came to New York quite a bit earlier than that. And hadn't met or anything like that. And funny thing is, we never even met at the Salmagundi Club before that. I did know Del was also an illustrator and a fine artist, not just a singer and an actor. And that was great. And that was something that did bring us together, because there aren't a lot of people in the theater who have that in common. And I actually think one of the things that really brought us together was the fact that the art is what we had in common.
Yeah.
Because
versus the acting, singing thing.
yes, because
we did, but a lot of people,
Yeah.
we work with
Everybody
were
around you
was
everything.
that, yeah.
a lot of people work together in the theater, as you know,
Right.
and don't have something else in common. And all of a sudden, it was like, no, there's this in common. And Del did beautiful work. His illustration work that he was doing at the time was fantastic. He was working for the New York Times, science section mostly. And I remember one time they did the covers of the science section at that time. The whole top of it was a drawing. And Del worked in very tight pointillism, black and white pointillism. And he would do these very complicated things. He did one on Tesla, which it was a portrait of Tesla with a pigeon on his shoulder because he flew birds off his roof.
Now, this was long before the car got the name, right?
Yes, long before the car.
Yeah.
But one time he was doing one of these, and I'll tell you the story. There was a gas station and trucks and very complicated design. And in small writing somewhere, it said, Kristen Garver, supernatural gas. And at that time, my name, professional name, was Kristen Garver. That was my maiden name. And I used that as a professional performer and director later on. But that was really, so I had to remember that. In the New York Times, I haven't thought of it for ages. Across that thing, It says, Kristen Garver, supernatural gas.
Well,
Right on the New
then
York
I was in
Times.
like Flint.
There you go. That's a very cool thing to do. That's very
I thought that was a
cool.
good story, and it, whoa, popped out. That's
Yeah.
But as it went along later on, she ended up directing me in a number of performances, not only at the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players, but in other opera companies and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was turned out to be, so we worked together for many, many years. So it was kind of fun.
So the working in New York, and then should we get to the part where you leave New York and go for other things, or you want to save that for a moment? Anything else in New York that happened?
Well, there were
will
lots
you
of-
get married in New York?
Well, we got married in upstate New York, in Cooperstown, as a matter of fact.
In
Oh, so you're in the
1996.
Hall of Fame.
Yes, we're in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. We got married in 1996. We knew each other for quite a while before that, but we got married in 1996, and we happened to get married in Cooperstown, New York, which also takes me back to another part of my childhood. Was that some of the very first summers of my life I spent there because both of my parents were counselors at a camp there. Another story altogether. But
Okay.
I love Cooperstown, and it was a great place, and the Hall of Fame is there. And also, a Glimmer Glass Opera was there. And at that time, I was also working at New York City Opera on directing
okay.
staff. And our artistic director was also the artistic director of Glimmer Glass Opera.
Oh, so that was the connection to
Yes.
Cooperstown, and that
Yes.
was a nice place for a wedding.
It was a really nice place
All
for a
right.
wedding.
Did once you were married in Cooperstown, you stayed living in that area, or were you never living in that?
No, we
area?
were never
No.
living in that area.
Oh, it was just there for the wedding.
Yeah, we were just there
We
for
were
the
still
wedding.
living in New York City.
in New
at
York
that
City.
point.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
we moved up in 2003 to Mystic. We finally decided we have to see a tree outside of Central Park. And,
Well, hold on to that Mystic story for a
Okay,
minute.
sure.
Because I want to save that for the next segment. Right now, we're going to go to another piece of Mark Tabor music. And this is a jazz pianist that you know very well. And did you meet him when you first hired him to be at Courtyard?
Well, he had a reputation, and he also he was big in Providence Art Club, not only for playing occasionally, but also modeling. And so we got his name through various sources. And then of course we hired him for the Courtyard Gallery, and then from there it just expanded from there.
I think I want to expand a little bit on the modeling part.
Oh,
now.
yes.
Now,
Well-
was he a naked model for
Yes,
you?
Oh,
he
yes.
was.
Yes.
Yes, he was. And if you know Mark, he's this tall, really skinny guy, And but I swear to God, I think probably every artist in the East Coast has
probably
drawn or painted him
or
at some
painted
point.
Mark. And by the way, Mark himself is actually, he's not only a wonderful jazz and blues pianist, but he is a visual artist himself as well.
Well, there
He
you
does
go.
pretty amazing found object sculptures, which are, I remember we saw his sculpture in juried shows.
New Haven Paint
In
and
New
Clay
Haven
was
Paint
the
and
first
Clay,
time we saw it.
particularly, we saw one piece of his that was a car put together from all different found object things, and it was a phenomenal piece.
Looked like a time machine.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. So
It
now
was-
I want the audience that is listening to be envisioning him while they listen to his music.
Absolutely.
All right.
Very
Good
good.
job.
Del-Bourree Bach and his wife Kristen are here on Conducting Conversations. I'm Mike Mano. We're talking about how they met, they got together, and how all the art started that you can now find at Del's. You can't find it at the studio because your studio is not open to the public, right, Del?
True. I just sell through the website. Well, I don't sell directly through the website. We send people who go to the website to the galleries where my work is showing. That's
Now,
basically
most
it.
of your stuff is what, $6-7 a painting, something like that?
Sort of.
No, it is what people would consider fine art. Is that the right term, Kristen? I would
Yes,
use that.
I think all art really is fine art. I never really liked the distinction of
Okay.
one thing to the other but they're paintings. There are many different media in the arts, and Del's are paintings. He's a painter. He's a realist painter. He calls himself a contemporary realist painter,
Or an illustrative.
Okay.
You know,
Realist.
you started to use a realist because a lot of my paintings have sort of a story, not directly like a direct story, but it kind of leads the viewer.
But I mean,
to see
people
something.
that would look at your paintings, in my layman language,
Right.
I would know that it was a seashore and not just a blotch of purple paint.
True.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
Or
yes.
I would
kept-
know that it
yes.
was a barn or
Yes.
a person or
Right,
two people sitting,
exactly.
or three people, I think, sitting on a beach.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Exactly,
Do
exactly.
I remember that correctly?
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. I went through. There was a period of time where I was very tight as an illustrator, and then I kind of loosened up and tried a few styles. But I always went back to the realism, and I always say every artist paints his own personality, and so my personality is I'm stiff. I'm
Oh,
everything
please.
else.
Now,
Kind of like-
people in Rhode Island recognize the name Del, and we thank you for your lemonade.
Oh yes.
You had nothing to do with that.
No,
Okay.
I wish I did.
No, but the one thing it's good is that people in Rhode Island know how to spell his name.
Del.
Other
Yes, with
people
one
spell
L.
it with two L's like the computer.
Yeah.
Or like the comic books.
Yes,
Oh.
Yeah.
right.
So, but everybody can handle the Del part.
Right.
It's the hyphen and the next name. Tell me about that.
Well, my mother was giving birth in 1953 to me, and at that point, they put them on their drugs and everything, and the nurse came in and said, "You're a beautiful baby boy, and what would you like to name him?" And she said, Del, with one L, and then a hyphen, and then Bourree, Bourree, and the last name, Bach, Bach. Now, Bourree is my father's middle name, which was passed down. So that makes sense. The Del kind of came out of left field because no
Okay.
one talked about that, and the hyphen.
And the Del is not short for anything, right?
No.
That's your official
No, he's not
name.
Del-
Actually,
Albert.
Del-Bourree is my first name. And then later, when I was 10 years old, since I was the first grandkid, my grandfather's birthday was so they added the name Franca as my middle name. So it's Del-Bourree Franca Bach. I tried using that when I was singing initially, but it was a big mess.
That's ridiculous.
So we kind of left the Franca out of it at this point. But that was in honor, of course, of my grandfather who got me going in both of these things.
Well, there you go. So now I know a lot of listeners have finally figured out, oh, that's what that means, all right? So that's good news. All right, so now we found out that if people are interested in your paintings, they go to your website, and then from there they will be connected to a gallery, correct?
Correct. Kristen, why don't you talk about it? She does most of the work on the website. Matter of fact, all of it.
So Del has a lot of time to paint, which he needs, and he wants. I generally take care of the website, and the way Del's website works, which is really nice, is that every painting that he posts on the website is already somewhere where someone can see it. He doesn't just finish a painting and post it on the website and say, here it is.
So it's in a gallery somewhere.
It's in a gallery somewhere. And from each painting, you can link directly to the gallery where that painting is.
So if you live in New York, or if you live in Miami, or if you live in
Absolutely.
Providence, or
Yes. And his work is in galleries from Maine to Florida. And he also shows in a lot of juried shows. He wins a lot of awards. I'll brag for him because he doesn't like to himself. But his work
Only
is
in the
actually,
commercials.
Yes. Has won well over 300 awards in mostly national and international competition. So sometimes there will be a painting in California, it'll be a painting in Seattle, it'll be a painting in the Midwest somewhere, or Texas or somewhere. And that will be on the website as well, that this is a show where that painting is. So people can go to the website all over the country and maybe find some of his work somewhere.
Yeah, and
them.
people do listen to us in various parts
They
of the country.
do.
I know there's
And-
a large audience in Florida.
Yeah.
And I know you have galleries down there.
Yeah, I have a gallery that I've been in there since 2001. I have a solo show every year down there. So
Called?
that's nice. Hughes Gallery,
In what city?
Boca Grande, Florida.
Boca Grande.
Boca Grande, West Coast.
Okay.
Coast.
Yes,
All right.
Boca Grande, and it's a great place, and we love going down there. We've gone many times down there and spent a lot of times. And Doug gets a lot of inspiration from the islands, those coastal islands on the west coast of Florida.
And what about Southern New England? Where could they go to the nearest gallery in
That's a
Southern New England?
really good thing. Okay, well, Susan Powell Fine Art in Madison. He's always there
Connecticut,
in
right.
Connecticut, and the Lily Pad Gallery in Watch Hill, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then those in that area, but also the Providence Art Club,
Yeah.
which he's a member, which is great. Lime Art Association in Lyme, Connecticut.
Okay.
And
Spa Fine Art in Saratoga,
New York, but that's a
Okay.
little bit
Yeah,
out of the
a little
area.
further out, but-
Also
Well,
on
see,
the Cape.
Kristen, this is why you do it, because he
Yes.
doesn't know where Southern New England is.
Yes.
True.
Well, Cape Cod, of course, Gallery Antonia in Chatham. And
Right.
he's got a solo show there this summer in August, but his work is there all the time.
All right. I think it's worth one more trip of spelling that out. So this time, remember the whole thing.
I will. The website is DEL-BOURREEBACH.com.
There you go. And that'll lead you on to, and I strongly suggest you go to the website and see some of the paintings that are pictured there, because they're all gorgeous. We talked a little bit about how many awards you've won over the years, and I'm sure they're going to continue to keep coming. We also mentioned your age, and is there any consideration, like I am older than you, I have no thoughts of retiring. Do you have any thoughts of retiring?
No, not at all. Artists, basically, I always feel artists will, just fall over their easel. And
Right.
as performers,
Yeah.
if hopefully they're on stage when they keel over, or something, or at least thinking about performing or something.
Well, I
But no, people, because
Yeah.
most of us know everyone else is in different businesses, and they,
Right.
think about retiring at a certain age and everything.
Right.
When are you retiring?
That's exactly the position.
Yeah.
We're both
Exactly.
very similar positions, and Kristen as well, as far as you're doing what you like, right?
Yes, exactly.
Now, one other thing I want to mention before we run out of time is, unlike Del, you are a volunteer.
Yes.
Now, Dell's paintings are very expensive, and, only the elite can manage. They're not crap art. That's an inside joke to some of the commercials.
Yeah.
But, Kristen, you do volunteer at Mystic's Aquarium.
Mystic Aquarium, I do. I love I love being a support system for Del. It's an interesting thing. I worked in the theater my whole life, and I loved it. I don't really miss it now, and I like being a support system that way for him. But I also love. Volunteering. I volunteer with the Animal Rescue Program at Mystic Aquarium, and right now we have 3 seals and 15 sea turtles. And I was even in there on the snow day taking care of 15 sea turtles.
There you go.
And it is wonderful. I learn something every day, and it is a great place. Everybody go, everybody support it.
All right, Mystic Aquarium. Get there, and they do some wonderful work. Well, I want to thank you both for coming in and kind of under the gun here. We did this at the last minute, and because I had another show scheduled that I had to move, and then I said, this would be a perfect time to get Del and Kristen to come in, and thank you both for doing so.
Well,
Thank you, Mike. It's
having
always
us.
great.
It's always
Yeah.
fun doing it with you.
We're going to listen to one more piece of Mark Tabor music, and then You can check Del's work out whenever you'd like just by going to the website, and we'll see you all next time on Conducting Conversations. Conducting Conversations was brought to you by Roberts Musical Instruments, using music and the arts to keep your child educated, entertained, and having fun. Roberts Musical Instruments is your key to musical success. Call 823-5459. That's 823-5459.